was thinking about something. Grocery prices have been out of control lately. And I thought I'd give you some thoughts into what I do to help at least reduce some of that pain. First and foremost, if you have the land, grow the food. Find things that are relatively easy to grow, whether it's onions, garlic, and most importantly, perennial fruits. Things like blueberries are a great option, especially if you're someone who doesn't have the greenest thumb. If we're talking about saving money, what we're really talking about is a survival situation. You want to think to yourself, what did they do before grocery stores, before Amazon? And growing simpler foods like root crops, potatoes and sweet potatoes and things like that. Those are foods that are relatively pest resistant, relatively disease resistant, and relatively simple to grow. Peaches and apples, those kinds of things, it can be really tough and they're very susceptible to disease. But root crops are generally immune to a lot of that. And a lot of times you can kind of cut around the bad parts and still have a pretty good root crop. Another thing about blueberries and root crops and these types of simpler foods to grow is that a lot of them are very rich in nutrients, very rich in calories, which is important. And they do really help reduce a lot of the cost in your grocery store bill. People joke about zucchinis, but it's another great option. If you can get them to grow and you can keep the squash vine borers away from them, you have a lot of food throughout the summer. And they're a great addition, a great side to any meal. Cucumbers are always a great thing to grow as well, because it can get expensive if you're buying a lot of cucumbers, and if you're looking to make pickles, having an excess of cucumbers is always welcome. If you're keeping hens for eggs, it is nice. You don't necessarily save money doing it, but you know that the eggs will be there. We've seen what happens to the price of eggs in the grocery store, how they fluctuate up and down, and just having eggs in your backyard is always a great source of protein. A way to cut down on the cost of those eggs is to find other ways to supplement that feed. Laying feed is very important. Making sure that they get their calcium sources is very important. But you can supplement the feed, especially during the winter months when they're really not producing eggs, with things like pumpkins or any of the winter veggies that you have grown and are storing. Maybe they're kind of spotted, maybe they had some bugs, maybe they're just starting to go bad and you're not interested in eating them yourself. You can cut the bad parts out, you can feed those to the chickens, and there's a lot of vegetables that chickens would be perfectly happy to take. That and any sort of grasses and hays and things that they can scratch around in and peck at, they'll find food in there. That includes anything from the grass seeds themselves to any bugs that may find their way into that straw or hay. And lastly, take advantage of any freezer space that you may have. Take advantage of any excess food that you just can't find your way to eating. Save it for later. The potatoes, dice them up, save them for later. The zucchini, cut them up, freeze them, save them for later. Cucumbers, make pickles, save them for later. And you can reduce your grocery cost. Anyways, that's just a few things to think about. That's something to consider so that you can kind of detach yourself from whatever the new fear happens to be in the news and whatever is happening to the markets and the grocery stores. Just helping to smooth out those rough edges. Grow your own food. Save as much as you can so that you can spread that love throughout the year. As always, you guys be good. I'll see you on the next one.